the Buddha's compassion, he could have had just a nice time after awakening. He could have just said, okay, that's it for me. I'm taking a rest. I've been struggling for 6 years, all these ascetic practices. Now finally I've got it. So he could have just laid back, have a nice life for the next 45 years. But no, he took the trouble. He went out of his way to teach the Dhamma all across the country. And there was no modern transport at the time. You couldn't just get into a plane and fly to Delhi, and then to Bodh Gaya, and then back. No, it was walking on foot. Wisdom, we all agree, is important, both to have a deep understanding ourselves on the Dhamma. If you want to share the Dhamma with others, we also need to understand and penetrate it ourselves well. Also, an ability to apply the teachings practically. If it's just theory, just something we study, we get for an exam, but then how can we make that applicable to people at home, people who come to our Buddhist societies, to our family, to our friends? So always to look for ways, how can we explain the Dhamma in a way that it's relevant and not just an interesting study or lists of things that we need to memorize. But okay, lists can have the purpose, but then also what's the value we can derive in our real life? Discernment in decision making, that's also a factor of wisdom, of panya, to make wise decisions, to know what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what is beneficial, what is unbeneficial. Understanding causes and conditions, not blaming others, but knowing, oh, because of this cause, this happened. If I want to get rid of that result, I will have to deal with the causes. We have to be aware of that. So we can use many of those Dhamma qualities to inform our practice, our leadership. What are examples from the Buddha's own life, how he used wisdom to inspire others? Not just inspire, but also to teach. Well, he discovered the law of dependent origination, cause-effect. It's not that nobody ever before did not know anything about dependent origination, but the nuances, the details, and the depth of how far that law penetrates, that is the domain of the Buddha. He discovered the middle way, avoiding the two extremes. And very often also in our Buddhist societies, you will have different opinions, isn't it? People want to be either very ascetic, even among the monks. We always have a group who are very ascetic, no bhante, we don't need any kutis, we don't need to go on a house dana, we just go on alms round in the village. And then there are others who say, no, it's okay, we can accept those things also. So as leaders also we have to see, what's the middle way? Are we going into extremes? Or are we only promoting voices who are very loud or who promote very extreme views? Because sometimes that can influence others also. So we have to balance things out sometimes. So the Buddha did all of that. Then, next quality, the Brahma Viharas. So of course, loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, empathetic joy, and equanimity. The Buddha had all of these qualities. Any story that comes to mind from the Buddha, how the Buddha exemplified loving kindness? Any incident? Any idea? Where the Buddha showed his quality of loving kindness and transformed others? Well, not only other human beings. There's the story of Nalagiri, the elephant. The Buddha was able to pacify even the drunk elephant with his metta, with his loving kindness, who comes running at him at full pace and then wanting to chase him. And then as the story goes, he stops just in front of the Buddha, maybe bows 3 times, chants the Metta Sutta. No. We don't know the details. But the quality of loving kindness in transforming people, in pacifying people, and not just animals, everyone. Seen beings, unseen beings. That is not only the domain of the Buddha, but also in our own hands, in our own capabilities. How about compassion? Yeah, just as we have heard just earlier, the Buddha's compassion. He could have had just a nice time after awakening. He could have just said, okay, that's it for me. I'm taking a rest. I've been struggling for 6 years, all these ascetic practices. Now finally I've got it. So he could have just laid back, have a nice life for the next 45 years. But no, he took the trouble. He went out of his way to teach the Dhamma all across the country. And there was no modern transport at the time. You couldn't just get into a plane and fly to Delhi, and then to Bodh Gaya, and then back. No, it was walking on foot. He did sometimes, it seems, use his psychic powers to travel. So that makes things a bit easier, but often he would just be on the road, because this is where you would meet people, right? If you're using your psychic powers to fly from one place to another, you're not meeting anyone. Very unlikely that you meet other people. Hello. So he was walking from A to B, and then on the way, having conversations with others, with other ascetics, Dhamma followers, newcomers, anyone. So making himself available out of compassion for others. Mudita, altruistic joy. The Buddha quite seemed to delight when other disciples, like Buddha, Mahamoggallana, he praised them for their qualities, he delighted in their qualities. And he even encouraged also the other monks, when you see something that another person is doing that is good, it's good to mention that, to praise at the right time for the right thing. But also to put forward criticism, feedback, constructive feedback when things don't go right. So praise and blame at the right time for what is skillful, for what is unskillful. The Buddha would promote that. But then also he excelled, of course, also in his equanimity, upekkha. Whatever happened, he could maintain his equipoise, his balance.